Well, the Labour Party has denied it is breaking any laws and says it is in fact operating within the law. Earlier, Arise News' Somna Sambo spoke to an official from the Labour Party, the spokesperson of the party's third force coalition, Tanko Yunusa.
Our name implied, it said obedient, simply means that we are obedient to the laws of the land, and everything we do is going to be within the ambience of the provisions of the law. As Nigerians also, we have the power, or at least we have the right to challenge the laws if they are not suitable to us. But that is not the issue at the moment. Every Nigerian has his right to do what it is within the ambience of the law, and we will respect that accordingly. We will not go against the provisions of the laws of Nigerian nation. That is the reason why we want to empower it and make sure that it works for the Nigerian people.
And so can you clarify what exactly you mean? I mean, because I've heard some of your party leaders say that Peter Obi went on a foreign tour to help Nigerians in the diaspora understand him, not to raise funds, as is being alleged by people in the Governing All Progressives Congress. Can you clarify exactly what the issues are? Exactly.
Peter Obi did not go outside this country to solicit for funds. That is affirmative. What he did was simply to visit our brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora, who have been pushed out of this country due to bad leadership. Many of them left this country not because they are willing, they want to go, but they felt that the country was not working. And I think credit should be given to Peter Obi for the ability to galvanize the Nigerian people in the diaspora, giving them hope that yes, Nigeria can work and work under its leadership. Now, Sambo, let's look at it. These are people in millions who have left the shore of this country: doctors, teachers, technocrats, businessmen, persons with disabilities. All of them have left this country not because they want to leave, but because they felt that the country is not working. And so therefore, he traveled to tell the Nigerian people outside the country that there is capacity in him and that he can move Nigeria from a docile country to a workable country. He can also tell them that, yes, whatever it is that they are trading outside can be done in Nigeria. In fact, what he had done was to tell them that in no distant time they should come back to Nigeria and help rebuild the nation. These are people who have been contributing to the development of the country even when they are outside the country. They send millions of nairas back home to their families to take care of them. And so therefore, such a constituency cannot be ignored. What he simply did is go there, meet with them, have a consultation with them, and tell them that, look, yes, I know we have had series of bad leadership in the past, but here we can have hope because I have this capacity to turn around the fortune so that you will not only be sending money home, you will be able to use your money for the betterment of your people back at home. And that is exactly what he's going outside the country to do.
All right, joining us from London studios is the chairman of the APC UK Presidential Campaign Council, Joseph Adebola. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. Well, the issue of diaspora funding is been on the front burner of national discourse lately. Of course, apparently following the seeming, recourse to diaspora funding for the Peter Obi campaign. Before we get into that, let me ask you, first of all, I mean, how do you as APC plan to fund, your party from the diaspora and, of course, from within?
Thank you very much for having me. Well, our own funding is done within, because we as APC members of APC UK, we do our own funding internally, and by that I mean the executives of the party are the ones funding whatever it is we are doing here. We've never gone, cap in hand begging for or maybe trying to raise funds from anywhere. We do whatever we do within ourselves, because every single one of us in the executive of APC UK, we are all professionals and businessmen. So we do our own thing because we are all conversant with the Nigerian electoral law. Because I know for a fact that Section 85 of the Electoral Act forbids explicitly the raising of funds from abroad and for the purpose of sending it back to Nigeria to sponsor any electioneering campaign or whatever. And it's in contravention, as far as I know, of Section 225. Subsection 3 of the Nigerian Constitution. So for anybody to want to go outside the ambit of what I've just said now, will be committing a criminal offense. And as far as I know, that electoral law also added some, it adds some kind of criminal element of criminality to it, whereby whatever funding that was done through that is liable upon whichever party that does that is liable upon conviction, to one, forfeit the funds that was so raised, and two, if there are any assets that was procured through that money, those assets will be forfeited as well. And thirdly, there is a fine of 5 million naira. So as far as we in APC UK are concerned, we are conversant with these laws and we know that it is just not worth it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Adebola, thank you for reading out the fines in the sections you quoted, but it was clearly stated in Section 225, subsection 3AB of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, and the Electoral Act, Section 85, that political parties, I've read through the sections of the laws, and I'm yet to see a candidate. So the law does state clearly, it's unambiguous. It says political parties, but you are very quick to say it forbids the candidate. Are you putting into the law what's not in the law? Also, I needed to clarify, when you were responding to the first question, you said those of you in the executive of the APC abroad, you source your funds within. What does that mean? You're still in the diaspora, but you also fund campaigns. So how's that different from what the Labour Party is trying to do?
Yeah, because we pay subscriptions every month. I mean, because as a group, obviously, there has to be things that we need to do in the UK, and we don't have to reach out to the party in Nigeria to send us funds. So we have to do all of that. So that is why I said we fund whatever it is we are doing. We do that through monthly subscriptions. We don't go outside the ambit of the party to look to source for funds. Of course, if you have a committee, then we have meetings, and there are logistics that we have to look after, and those logistics cost money. So obviously, that money has to come from somewhere. So that is why we levy ourselves every month, every executive and our members too, pay subscriptions every month. So it is through these subscriptions that we do whatever it is we have to do. But we don't send money to Nigeria, either to the party or to any candidate whatsoever.
So what you're saying in effect is that if diasporans wanted to fund the APC presidential candidate, you would reject the funds? Is that what you're saying? And there seems to be some kind of lacuna, whether you're talking about the Electoral Act 2022 or even the Nigerian Constitution, that really talks about, parties and not candidates, that should not take funding from abroad or accept funding from diaspora.
I've just said earlier on that we are not remitting money to Nigeria. Subscriptions that we pay here is meant, to do whatever it is we have to do in here. Of course, like I said earlier on, as a party, there are things that we need to do. We don't need to wait for we have never gotten a penny from the party from Nigeria, so we have to source for funds within ourselves to do what we have to do.
We had that part clearly. In your submission, you quoted the law, Section 225, subsection 3AB, and Section 85 of the Electoral Act. But the language of the law was very clear. It did say political parties are prohibited from collecting monies or funds from abroad. But in this instance, it's Peter Obi as a candidate, as a person, and his campaign teams that seem to be trying to receive this money or preparing to receive the money and not the political party. So I asked you, are you trying to put into the law what's not in the law? Because the law says the political party and not the candidate.
Well, I'm not putting words into. I'm just stating explicit to you. I just quoted what the law says, and I'm likening that to what we are doing here. That we, because the law says that they should not take money from abroad. That's what the law says. And I'm just saying to you, we are not sending money to Nigeria. We have logistics to take care of here, and that is what our own monthly subscriptions is for. In fact, there's no way anybody can run away from that. There has to be some form of way of funding whatever it is we have to do here in the UK, and we don't have to go cap in hand to Abuja, for that. So we have to do that within in-house. I cannot speak for the Labour Party. They know why they did whatever it is they did. I'm not privy to that, and I'm not going to speak. I'm not going to speak for them. But I'm speaking for APC UK as it stands today.
Okay, well, let's even help you with that. If that section 225 that you actually refer to can come up, come back up on air. Yes, it says no political party shall A, hold or possess any funds or other assets outside Nigeria, or B, be entitled to retain any funds or assets remitted or sent to it from outside Nigeria. What that means, a literal reading of this section actually limits the prohibition of dealing with funds and remittances from outside Nigeria or possessing or holding any funds or other assets outside Nigeria to political parties as distinct from candidates. Unfortunately, we're not lawyers, but it is very clear what the section says. Apparently, based on what I asked you earlier, don't you think there is a lacuna as far as the electoral law is concerned and the Constitution itself as a ground norm? Is it time to begin to look at these, the Constitution and the Electoral Act, going forward to say, look, there is ambiguity as far as funding, diaspora funding for candidates is concerned? Shouldn't that be the next line of action?
Well, as far as I can see from what you just read from A and B now, I don't see any lacuna there, because like I said earlier on, we are not remitting money to Nigeria. All we're doing is just subscription simply for the purpose of taking care of our logistics here. So I think that is completely clear. As far as the law is concerned, it's not as if we're going, cap in hand, begging people bring money here, like you said the other party are doing. But like I said, I'm not going to speak for them. I'm just speaking for APC UK, and that we don't remit money to Nigeria. End of story. And you can verify that anywhere.
Okay. Well, I still asked you earlier if, diasporans decided to fund your party and the candidate, you would actually say a big no to that. Are there any risks at all if a candidate or even a political party received diaspora funding?
Well, is there a risk there? Because the law clearly states that it forbids that. So that's why I said anybody going outside the law will be committing an offense. And as far as I can see there, that section 85 has already brought in an element of criminality to it. So which means whoever is caught doing it will, on conviction, I've stated it, will have to forfeit that fund. And if there are any assets that was procured with that fund, that will be forfeited. And there's a fine of 5 million naira to it. So for me, the law is clear on it. There's no ambiguity as far as I'm concerned. It depends on how people, tend to either obey or to contravene it. Okay. It's as simple as that, madam.
All right. Thank you very much, Joseph Adebola, APC UK Presidential Campaign Council, for joining us on Newsnight.